Gilneas is one of those battlegrounds that a lot of people think all depends on that initial team fight. And they get kind of frustrated with it because if you lose that team fight, then they say it's all over and you just got to sit around for the rest of the game. I don't entirely agree with that. If you've seen some of my other videos as a strat caller, when I'm running the show, it ain't over until it really is over, because you can pull split strat, you can pull stealth team, you can pull all kinds of stuff. But the reality of this map is the team fight at Waterworks really is actually quite important. In this case, it's not me that's calling the strat, it's somebody else, and we have a particular challenge on our hands. If you look at their comp, they've got 3 demon hunters and a ret paladin, as well as double rogue, which is a ton of pressure for us to deal with. And someone on their team is on my B tag, and I think he might have told all their melee to sit me. So one thing I wanted to talk about in this video is not so much strat or the map, but as a healer, it's important that you know, 1, when to call for help, but 2, how to get yourself out of trouble. And there's a lot of healers that, 1, struggle with calling for help. They just kind of sit and don't say anything. But 2, also don't know how to deal with melee and how to get rid of them. And I have a somewhat of a unique solution here that works as a monk, but with coordination. If you're a priest or some other kind of healer, you can work in conjunction with a Mistweaver monk to pull this off. And what I call, I don't know if there's a name for this already, but I'm going to call it house arrest. And here I do it for the first time. I port into this little house, I pull all the melee in with me, set up a ring of peace, and leave them in there. So they cannot get out, they cannot chase me for a good couple of seconds. And it allows the healers, the 3 of us, to kind of catch up. I do have to tell the other priests in my team that I'm doing this because I am LOSing them, and they're kind of freaking out when they can't cast a heal on me when I'm low, and I am low when I go in there usually. But that right there was house arrest number 1, and there will be quite a few more throughout the rest of this game. Also, this house is a great place to put that Horde battle standard. How that Horde battle standard manages to stay alive despite me taking all the melee in there with me so many times throughout this game, I don't know. But you know, if you're in a game and you see a battle standard like that, kill it. It's not, it doesn't take that long. A single dot, as an affliction lock, a single dot will kill that thing. And yet, it's providing, you know, this nice buff. There's house arrest number 2. I lock him, I actually get a 2 for that time. 2 demon hunters stuck in the house for a good 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. Because while I get to come out here and get some free casts, which is amazing. There's going to be a few more, but I think from this point on, the majority of the melee kind of realize, you know what, chasing this monk is not paying off terribly well. During this team fight, this is a long team fight. We go for a really long time. There is target calling going on. I'm not playing the sound or the voices of my team because, frankly, to be honest, it is mostly swearing. But there is communication, and it is fairly good. People are calling out CDs, people are calling out targets, but they are also mostly just bickering at each other. This hunter should have died a long time ago. But you know, it is what it is. Here I'm going to go into the house again, try for house arrest number, what are we at, 3? The demon hunter does not follow me at this point. I think they've decided to go on the priests for a while. Throughout the rest of the game, I think they sit on these priests. I said it once before, but I'm going to reiterate again because it is important that you know this, that this is not just a video for Mistweavers. I'm playing a Mistweaver, I'm using techniques that a Mistweaver would use to peel, but if you work with your other healers, then you can also benefit from these same techniques if you are a Mistweaver, but also if you are a different type of healer, there are things that you can do. So if you align things up, if you've got a knockoff then as healers, you can arrange for some good knockoffs off the backside into the river, where it's a little bit harder for people to get back. If you have mind control or a particularly good CC, healers need to be popping out CC, very intelligently. And that's something that, again, gets overlooked. A lot of healers, they get done with a game, win or lose, and they just look at those healing numbers. And if you're not looking at dispels, CCs, if you have an interrupt, in this case I'm playing a Blood Elf, use those spells. That is the difference between LFR PvE, just, rolling your face literally on the keyboard and playing intelligent PvP. In this case, I'm looking for a drink. I tried drinking in the back of the house. It was a little too close to the action, so I got to peel out here. I do get about a third of my mana bar filled again, but I got to get back into the Fury again. Right around here, we're starting to get a few kills. The fight has thinned out a little bit here. You see there's the Demon Hunters. There's one still left, but we've killed a few of those. The healers are still up. But in turn, our target calling has gotten a little bit worse, mainly because they got a few kills on our actual target caller. There's house arrest number 3, by the way. It's still working. They they haven't learned their lesson. And there you can see him bobbing in the left of my corner of my screen, trying to get out of that house and just wasting whatever offensives he's recently peeled. If you can waste a Demon Hunter's major offensive cooldowns in something like that, or in like a mind control or a CC, that is a huge addition to the game. Here they finally do get me. I didn't have time to go in and set up that trap again, and I got some time to sit here in the graveyard. While here in the graveyard, let me tell you about another way that I've been able to use Ring of Peace to be able to peel, not for myself, but for other healers really well in this map. If you can have your healers, particularly if you're playing with like a Resto Shaman or Priest or anything that's a little bit more of a stationary heal, if you have them standing by the edge where the water is, still in range of the team fight, hopefully, and just pull all the melee into there, all your knockoffs, all your mind controls, all of your Ring of Pieces, they can be used to knock all that melee into the water. And in most cases where they don't have something to get back up onto land really quickly, that at least buys your healers a couple of vital seconds to get some serious heals off. And in most cases, healers just need a couple of seconds to get, 1 or 2 solid long casts off. If a healer can get a 1 long cast off, here I'm going for another house arrest, and they are following me in. I do not quite get the Ring of Peace, aimed properly, and it does not launch, and they do get the kill on me again. This is kind of a sad point for me. When you got that much going on in an enclosed area, that's kind of the drawback to all this. But they also kind of know it's coming now because it's happened to them several times. But what was I saying? Knockoffs. If a healer can get a solid long cast off, most healers have something that can heal 2/3 of somebody's health bar in that amount of time, and that's usually the difference between panic and control for a healer. For the next little bit, I want you to look at my reporter add-on off to the right, the little mini map there. We are sitting one guy at Lighthouse, and the team fight's still going at Waterworks, but we are slowly wiping them there and cleaning them up. They are not continuing to trickle in. There's still a few of them here. I get here, I set up my little house trick again just in case, but there's only about 2 Demon Hunters and I think a healer or 2 left. And we're just slowly wiping them up. It does take us a while because everybody insists on killing them instead of just CCing the last 1 or 2 and capping the flag. But after this, the attention of the game really turns back to strat, and that is shown on the reporter minimap. You can see already that our rogue at Lighthouse is already seeing some action. That's what that little black dot is on top of his yellow dot. That means he's in combat, and he's got, I think at the moment, double rogue that he's dealing with. So we peel out as fast as we can, just in time to catch the rest of their team, who has recently regrouped after rezzing and done a full push to Lighthouse. Now, this is the reason why so many people think that the fight at Waterworks decides the entirety of this game, because again, we did win that fight at Waterworks. We now have 2 bases, or we're working on it. That Waterworks one is still turning over, and from now on we just need to basically spin. And the reason why people are frustrated with this is that they generally, even after they've mastered the idea of being patient long enough to wait for other people to res and to not trickle in, they still kind of fail at pushing in as a group, as a coordinated effort. And in this case, they push in and just sort of, you saw that Pally push in way too far, way out of range of his healers, and just melt. We do have 1 or 2 that went to Waterworks apparently, so I peel off to support that. Our DPS are, clamoring in Discord that they need a healer. By the time I get here, there isn't much for me to heal. They managed to handle themselves just fine. I think ultimately what you'll see here is that this Warlock is not satisfied. This Warlock on our team is not satisfied with holding 2. And once I get here, he decides to peel off and just go rogue. And at this point, this is really one of the reasons why I don't include any of the chat. Oh, there's that rogue. That rogue, you'll see just inside that house. I got him targeted right now. He was sitting there waiting for me. So they figured out my little trick. They've communicated in their Discord, and they were deciding to have a rogue sit there and wait for me to port in and then get ganked at low health. But again, ill-timed maneuver because there's no team fight going on here. The rogue just sort of got himself killed there. But anyways, for a while we get to just kind of sit and wait. We're floating. You see a few people kind of in between bases. There's still some action back at the Lighthouse end of things, but we've managed to clear them up pretty well. There, I'm floating fairly close to Waterworks just in case they do push in. But eventually, right about now, our Warlock decides to mount up, hop across the river, and go hauling off to mines, which gets our strat caller really pissed. When you've got 2 like this, you don't need to push that 3rd base, especially when you had to fight so stinking hard. And ultimately, this turns out okay. We still do win the match. In fact, he manages somehow to get mines, and he's not running the single target spec that I run in low CR matches. Yet he still manages to go and cap that and hold it. From what I can see on Reporter, he did not meet any resistance. I never see a black dot showing up in his circle until after he's capped it. So that means that they must have just ghosted it. But he gets in there and starts clamoring for some support. I'm kind of bored myself, but so I go and help him. But of course, as soon as I leave, Waterworks gets hit as well. And this is one of those situations where the fault could be mine, it could be his, but in the end, if we had the 3 of us, the Demon Hunter, myself, and the Lock, just sat at Waterworks, it would have been a lot less stressful of a game because we did not need to come here. We do get this base, and they do get Waterworks back from the Demon Hunter, which is kind of sad. And after this, you know, the Warlock and our Strat Caller basically have it in for each other in chat. And because the Strat Caller in this case is running the group, the Warlock gets booted immediately after this game. But you know, this is kind of one of those things where you don't want to get greedy in Gilneas. And as a healer, sometimes I'm torn between, do I support the greedy guy who was successful, or do I play it safe? And, you know, who knows how many, I don't know how many people they sent to Waterworks to cap on that Demon Hunter. Maybe this was the smart move to go with. But we didn't know that they were going to ghost. We didn't know. If they hadn't ghosted, I do not think that Warlock would have been successful in capping that. He's not running a single target spec. He's running the standard higher CR sort of talent set that allows for a lot of AoE and a lot of spread damage. So, you know, if they had set one rogue or a demon hunter or something to guard this, I don't think he would have been successful. At this point, the game is pretty much over. We've got our two bases. We're ahead in points by enough that they're not coming back. We've still got some spinning going on back at Lighthouse, but the priests are managing to keep everybody up just fine, so I'm just chilling here at Waterworks. So I'm going to have some time here at the end to just summarize things. The whole point of this video is to say that as a healer, your game is not entirely about just your healing numbers, and it is not the responsibility of the whole team to keep you alive all the time when you're in trouble. The first responsibility for taking care of you lies with you. Peel yourself, use your other abilities, use your interrupts, use your CC, use your fancy tactics in conjunction with the Battleground map, if possible. Be creative, and then when you really need it, call for help. The other thing to say about this is that if you lose the main team fight, it's not over until it's over. And if you do a second push sometime and strategically push in or split your group properly and have the right timing, this is very much possible, but you got to focus more on the objectives and less on the team fight in that case. Hope you enjoyed the vid. It's been a while since I've posted anything. If you liked it, leave a like, drop me a comment. I do read those, even if I'm not posting videos all the time. And I hope to see you again next time with another video.
What's up?
Did we get lock cookies?
Yeah, for real. I'm trying to eat.
Just crack rocks. Light them crack rocks.
Why are they called raw cookies or lock cookies?
I don't know. Could you eat them?